Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video I want to talk to y'all more about Zenless Zone Zero. However, if you want to stay updated with all things Zenless Zone Zero, make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get on into today's topic. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you will see that we finally have multiplayer in Zenless Zone Zero. It is in the game right now known as Joint Investigation: The Divine Maze. The requirements for it are pretty simple. You need to have completed the main story chapter 1 and be at internet level of at least 20 to join this. So the requirements really aren't that high, if you're just someone who even plays casually, and just a little bit here and there, a few times a week. If you've been playing, just a little bit here and there since the game came out, I'm positive, you're at least that far along. The multiplayer mode does come with some new mechanics and surprises and different things, and I just wanted to, go over some of those and explain them to you, for those who don't know how the multiplayer works or may have a little bit of confusion about it. However, it's pretty straightforward, like a lot of multiplayer action RPGs, and has similar mechanics to how those things go. But anyway, if this guide helped you, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe. And let's not waste any more of your time and get on into it. So, like I was saying before, you're going to want to start the quest called the Divine Maze. If you're in, immersive storytelling or anything like that, working on the main story, you're obviously not going to be able to access it until you don't have that. But if you have any trouble finding the quest line, just literally click the Joint Investigation Divine Maze event under the Events tab in the game, and it's going to have you, do a tutorial, talk to a few different characters of the game and stuff like that. It has its own little storyline going for it, and, there's all kinds of different rewards and goodies you can get for playing. But the Divine Maze is broken up into two sections. There's a solo investigation, which, you just play solo. The little solo dungeon-like missions, and then you have the joint investigation, which are 3-player, multiplayer, dungeon-style missions. Now, the main thing you want to focus on in this mode, improving your exploration level, because this is going to help you, be able to do more content in the investigations, and also improving your gear. Well, how do you get more gear, you ask? Well, just like any other action RPG, you farm. You literally just run the content over and over and you farm it. Plain and simple. Your gear is going to have something set on your character called an investigation rating, or IR, whichever you'd like to call it. No, for right now, your characters do not use the gear that you have currently equipped for them. For the record, I do hope, they bring some type of multiplayer mode in the future where, we can use our actual builds and stuff like that to our heart's content. So, long story short, you have a select pool of characters that you can use for right now. They'll have trial ones that you can also have available. And then, the ones that are here, I believe, these are all the ones that you own or have access to. I own every single one of these characters, so, I'm assuming, they're just letting me use versions of characters that I own with specific elemental traits. Now, every character is going to have 4 gear slots. There's going to be one here at the top. There's going to be another one here bottom left, another one bottom right, and one here in the center. Your investigation rating is simple IR. Think of that, as your gear level or gear score. The higher rated the piece of gear is, the more that's going to go up. Certain missions, I'm going to show you guys now, they have certain IR recommendations. Now, you can go into these missions under that recommendation. However, like the recommendation says, that's not recommended. No pun intended. Oh God, I'm rhyming here. But you're going to have 2 different sections. You have standard, and then you have special offensive. Now, this is a time-gated event with a solo side to it as well. You have to work on the solo side to unlock more of the content for the multiplayer side. So, think of it as an event of how things work in something like Genshin Impact or Where Winds Meet, where you have to just, keep doing the quests as they unlock. It's also time-gated. Again, I don't know why games are doing this whole time gate thing now. Maybe it's just, to keep people from running through all the content in 5 minutes. I have no idea. But new pieces of the investigation are going to unlock every day. You're going to want to go and knock out the solo stuff, and then go and do the multiplayer portion. Every time you finish one of these runs, you're going to get some XP towards your exploration level, and you're also going to get some gear that randomly drops in a run. And basically, you know, every single piece of gear, they're all going to come with different perks and side effects and stuff like that. They all have different ratings, you know, just like the characters. You have the A, B, and S ratings and all that stuff. You guys know how all that works. They all come with, you know, different perks, and each section seems like, you know, it focuses more on different things. And it seems like, you know, some drop more than others. Like, I played a good amount yesterday, and notice how, you know, I have a ton for this top section, a decent amount here for this bottom left, but here in the bottom right, I only have 2. Yeah, out of all those runs yesterday, I only got two drops. Even here in the center, where these, you know, seem to be like core abilities and stuff like that, I only got 8 of these. But so for some reason, this bottom right section, these aren't dropping a lot for me. Let me know if you're experiencing the same thing in the comments. But what you want to do is you basically just want to put together a build that's, you know, that's based on how your character plays. Like, for example, you know, if you're playing Soldier 11 and you see something that gives more fire damage, you're obviously going to want to equip that. You know, if you have a basic physical attack character, use something that uses basic attack, and etc., etc., etc. It's real simple. You know, nothing too complicated or anything. Stay on top of the event. You know, just make sure you're grinding it and stuff like that, and be sure to collect the rewards and all the goodies that come with it as well. If you hit the square button or X, you know, depending on whether you're playing on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, as you guys can see, it gives Polychrome, Denny's, leveling rewards, you know, all kinds of goodies, different titles and stuff like that. And there's actually a decent amount of Polychrome in this event. So even if you're someone, you know, who's not crazy about multiplayer, I would definitely recommend giving this event a go, because the Polychrome, I would say, you know, is worth it alone. But other than that, guys, like I said, it seems to be, you know, just like a real simple action RPG grinding system. It's just you know, a handful of dungeons you can farm right now. Then, you know, when you go into the special offensive territory, these nightmare ones, these are more so trial style bosses. They're not necessarily dungeons. It's going to take you and 2 other players straight into, you know, a very difficult boss fight, you know, with crazy mechanics, you know, special elemental recommendations and all of that fun stuff. But anyway, guys, if you want to see gameplay on this mode, I did upload a video yesterday that shows a sample of gameplay of me and my buddy the Asylum Warden running through one of the dungeons in the game. But y'all enjoyed today's video, smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.